two people over there are not my mom and dad. They are criminals. They made me suffer since birth. Child abusers, yes, children. You can't just go out and abuse children. Do you understand that? Child abusers have to be punished.
Some of you might agree with her, some of you might think that what she did is extreme. But is it really extreme? Let's look at this case from the lens of a CYCP. Hey, it's me Riri, and welcome back to yet another discussion where I would be briefing about this 19-year-old girl from Bangladesh called Mehreen. Who exactly is Mehreen? Well, Mehreen Ahmed is a daughter from an influential family. Her father is a director at the Atomic Energy Commission and her mother is a manager at Beximco Group. She has filed a case against her own parents accusing them of torturing her mentally, and the case is still ongoing. As someone who completed 1 year of child and youth care studies and is currently a psychology student, this case is actually something worth giving a look and analyzing. But obviously not with a critical and negative lens. Mehreen Ahmed, unlike many other children and young adults, stood up for herself and sought law support when her parents denied her choice to move to the USA for her studies. I obviously do not support her hypocrisy and the way she publicly disrespected and shamed her own parents, denying their rights for sure. But what I would like to talk about is why some children and young people end up being like the way they do. Children and neglected parents. Oftentimes, children who grow up without their parents around them, whether it's because their parents are both working, separated, or in the worst case, deceased, they grow up with insecure attachments. But what does that really mean in child and youth care? Early relationships between parent and child determine emotional development and future relationships. Different children growing up in different environments develop different types of attachments. The most common ones are secure attachment, which is when a child grows up in a healthy environment with their parents' love and support. These individuals grow up to be social and can express their emotions, form relationships with ease. Insecure avoidant attachment is exactly the opposite of what secure attachment is, and in this case, I assume that Mehreen developed an insecure attachment with her parents. Unfortunately, since this video is not to talk about attachment theory, I am not proceeding further. But this thing is actually something very important to learn and understand. If you would like me to, I will be more than happy to explain it in details in a separate video. So, moving on with this case, as far as I know, she seems to be an only child. First of all, both of her parents have jobs in high posts, which means they are both busy and unavailable in her life. This is actually a lot more common than we think. In our society, due to inflation and other causes, both the parents from mid to low income families are bound to work while they keep their children in daycare centers or with nannies. During those early years, children need their parents' presence and emotional support the most. If that is missing in early stages of life, they find it difficult to form a well-maintained relationship with them later on. I would also mention how these children growing up start finding solace and a sense of belonging in a completely different system. They often turn to the cyber system, in simple terms, the world of the internet. There are absolutely no limitations in there. So if these children feel neglected and caged in their own homes, they feel like home on the internet. Not only that, oftentimes they get biased over things like K-pop, anime, novels, or games because those are the things where they felt seen and heard, where they felt like they were someone. They get attached to a certain song, a certain movie, a certain series, a certain book, or even in some very common cases, some fictional characters. They find fandoms and communities and meet people who have exactly similar interests and stories, developing mutual understanding and friendships. It's like a whole world for them. And so, when in the real world, someone who doesn't understand this tries to mitigate it, it triggers them the most and they start thinking of you as their enemy. Well, it doesn't mean that you are an enemy, but they just feel like you don't understand them and you don't want them to be happy, which is exactly why these children end up taking such steps. To wrap it all up, personally speaking, I think this case actually is lacking genuine communication, and it all probably escalated from stress, miscommunication, and misunderstanding, obviously. I won't say that Mehrin's parents failed, and I also won't say that Mehrin herself is innocent and what she did is right. I am not taking sides in here. This case isn't something that needs to have two sides and a debate, but it's actually a one side, and a safe communication is required. If you look at it, almost all parent versus child cases circulating around are actually things that could have been solved with conflict resolution and proper communication rather than calling in law and just getting your face posted on the newspaper the next day. The moral of this discussion here is that developing a secure attachment with your child during their early stages is important not only for you but for their future as well. And even the biggest of the biggest things can be solved with genuine understanding and communication. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to come back with another discussion soon.